Also,
first,
shout out to everyone that joined me at 5 in the morning my time to sit there and watch Elimination Chamber. I really did appreciate that because I expected like 2 or 3 of you guys to come in, but we had like a full house.
yeah, it was like 15. I woke up to the space being full, and I was just like, oh, all right.
And y'all didn't want to leave. That's the crazy part. Some of y'all start at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Y'all actually was trying to kick it to like 7, 8 a.m. I was like, wow, that was crazy. But thank you so much for joining in. Just had to throw that out there.
Had to throw that out there, and I mean, this is a perfect segue because we were talking. That space was for WWE's Elimination Chamber 2024 live from Perth, Australia. And I just kind of wanted to get some of your thoughts on the show, some of your takeaways. How did you feel about Elimination Chamber, especially since this is essentially the last big PLE before WrestleMania?
Me personally, I thought for a pay-per-view that had no major stars on it outside of like people like Bianca or Becky Lynch, and some people that are on the rise to being like major stars, I thought it was actually a really good pay-per-view. I think I asked y'all in the space about it, and you guys were trying to say 6 and 7. I was actually thinking like a solid 8 for what it was, just because I liked the amount of matches they had. The pacing was fun. None of the matches were actually dull to me. I thoroughly enjoyed both chambers, although I still think that the men did better than the women. And my main criticism as to why, okay, the women's chamber went off. I just want to congratulate everyone that was in there. Like y'all did your thing. But I had a huge disagreement with how soon y'all got rid of Naomi and how she got eliminated. That did not sit well in my spirit, especially during Black History Month. Because I watched the footage about 5 times. Her shoulders were completely up when Tiffany was pinning her. Like completely up, and then Naomi sat up like she was confused too. I'm like, bitch, what? So my theory for that is that they knew that Naomi is super athletic, and yeah, she's like a showstopper. You know what I mean? She pulled out a little stripper split from the top of the cage and then just bust down on whoever it was. What was it? I don't know, Becky Lynch or someone. She just came down, did like a stripper split or whatnot. And I just feel like with how impressive she was and how it's so fresh that she came back, this is her second pay-per-view back, I feel like they were trying to put more focus on Tiffany. They just wanted her to have a full stage of just like, all right, let's show off what Tiffany could do and let's get her backing. And she's growing a pretty good fan base. Honestly, she's very impressive. I thought everyone showed out. It was obviously predictable. That's probably the only other criticism I could think of, that the whole pay-per-view was predictable, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it was actually good. The men's was great. It was fun. My favorite thing about watching the men's was watching all the feuds in between work out one another. I really enjoyed seeing Logan Paul. I know a lot of people hate him, but I'm always giving him his flowers for being a heel, bro. He is so funny. He really sat there and took the time to write Kevin Owens sucks, and then he drew a picture kind of like how
a stick figure.
He drew him the same way that SpongeBob drew Mrs. Puff when he was in driving school. And that's what made me cackle. And he wrote it backwards, for the camera. Like, he just sat there and took his time writing Kevin Owens sucks backwards for the camera. That had me dying. Phenomenal heel work. Kevin Owens just beat his daylights out. There was a point where I think even LA Knight and Kevin Owens was banging at his head. Like, he was banging him against the freaking pod, and then Kevin was punching the pod while he's banging him. Like, it's so funny. Just in general, the men was just fun. It was upbeat. I didn't expect the interference from AJ Styles. Is that common to have the cage door be open and someone to come in?
So, I mean, I think it's happened in a couple of Elimination Chambers before. But I think it was a nice touch. I'm going to let you finish, though, because I have a whole spiel on that. So
okay, yeah. No, just because I was a little bit confused. I'm just like, what's the point of having a cage if someone could just walk right in there? But I wasn't mad about it because I was just like, okay, like, you want to still keep everyone strong because someone has to get pinned. Like, you can't move around that. Someone has to take the pin. And if you're going to make LA Knight look stupid, and you want to protect him, yeah, you're going to have some form of interference. So I wasn't mad about it. I thought it was good. Hell, even the main event, I was surprised that they went with Rhea and Nia Jax, but
it makes sense.
But I understand from a booking point of view, just because if you go by like what star she had left over, like Rhea is your biggest star. I mean, she like they've been promoting the hell out of her. I mean, hell, the girl got like a 90 something overall for the 2K game. Like they pushing this girl to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was interesting that they chose that over just choosing, the stipulation pay-per-view to close it out. I feel like if you end it with the men, it would have been on a super high note. But I had to give the girls their flowers because Nia Jax, even though I can't like stand her as a person sometimes because she's stupid to me, I want to say she actually improved a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She improved a lot. I think she's actually entertaining. Not that she really was never entertaining to me. It's just that she was just so terrible in the ring. I forgot that she's interesting on the mic sometimes with her attitude. But she actually improved in the ring well enough. She lost weight. She looks great. And I was impressed with what her and Rhea pulled off. Obviously, it was predictable that Rhea was going to go over. But overall, the pay-per-view was cool. It was cool. It was cute.
You're on mute.
Ooh,
There it is.
I'm over here playing with this button like a child. The pay-per-view was cute. It was enjoyable. I would definitely rewatch the cage matches again. So for me, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. For what it was with no stars, that's pretty impressive, and it goes to show you how well Hunter has invested in the rest of the division to where it could survive without major stars.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll pass over to you, Jordan. What did you think about Elimination Chamber?
I agree with you. This show is a major bright spot in WWE. The fact that they were able to do this show without The Rock, able to do this show without Roman Reigns, I think shows a lot about the depth of that talent roster. And I also feel like it was a great choice for them to focus on Tiffany Stratton. I feel like even though obviously we love Naomi, we love a lot of the participants in that chamber match, I feel like if you introduce a new superstar, you have to make us care and you have to make us show their value. Now, anybody who's watched NXT in the past year knows that Tiffany be putting on some bangers. And I feel like when you get to the main roster, it's a totally different world. You can't just assume that everybody knows your resume and that everybody knows what you did. So you may have to introduce the new people and you have to remind the old fans. And I think that Tiffany was able to do that. Because of Tiffany's performance, it wouldn't be unreasonable to see her compete for a title somewhere within the next 3 to 6 months. And I think that that was the point, to put her over and to show her that she is a star, that she can hang with the best, and that she is someone who can main event a show and compete for a championship. Moving on to the men's chamber, I think the men's chamber was really, really good. The fact that AJ Styles broke into that elimination chamber, I think shows that Hunter is bringing back something that I think the WWE lost for quite a bit, which was making feuds out of things that are tied to world titles, right? I feel like there was nothing better than seeing a feud that started and you screwed me out of this championship. You screwed me out of this title shot. And I feel like you saw a lot of things like that in this cage, whether it was Logan and Randy or AJ and LA Knight. You see a lot of potential WrestleMania matches that are rooted in the fact that one cost the other a chance at a title shot. Not only does it give the story meaning, but it also, I'm trying to find the words. Not only does it give the story meaning and makes matches make sense, I feel like it gives kind of the world title or the WWE title more value, because the fact that people are fighting over being costed that championship opportunity shows how valuable that championship is. And then now, last but not least, and I know that there was more to the show, but these were the things that stood out. Wait, before I even go any further, shout outs to Indy Hartwell, because she's from Australia, and the fact that she was able to be on the kickoff show for the WWE Women's titles, for the WWE's Women's Tag titles, I think was a very big deal. So shout out to Indy.
And shout out to Bronson, because he couldn't be there.
He couldn't be there because of, I think that he has a newborn. So shout outs to him. But Rhea versus Nia, I think, was the only suitable main event. Considering that Rhea was the hometown girl, considering that she's an Australia native, considering that she is arguably the biggest Australian star not even arguably, the biggest Australian star in WWE. You don't close with anything but that. So to see kind of her do her thing. She came out, she had the Australia flag on the back of her jacket. It shows how much of a star she is. And the fact that in 2024 in women's wrestling, a women's wrestling championship match can main event a show like that, and it makes sense, shows how far women's wrestling has come. And I think it was just a nice, great touch. I also thought it was really, really sweet because I think once the camera stopped rolling, she got emotional in the ring because this is like her dream. Like, you're in your home country main eventing a WWE Women's World Title match against Nia Jax. And I do agree with you. Nia Jax is super entertaining. I actually think that outside of Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, she's the MVP of the women's division because she has been able to do good work. She's been able to give young talent a push. She's been able to step in and provide feuds outside of the title picture that are valuable. And I think that that is super important when you're talking about the depth of a women's division. So overall, I actually give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think this is a really, really good way to kind of set the tone that we are right by WrestleMania. And yeah, I was very, very pleased with the show. But we want to know how you guys feel about Elimination Chamber. Let us know in the comments below. But we are moving on